Welcome to the Gita in Action podcast. My name's Radha, and I'm here with our family of seekers. We are reading through the Bhagavad Gita verse by verse, studying its meaning and its relevance to our lives today. And today is New Year's Day. It's the first day of the year, and we have a really special verse that I'm really excited to get into with you guys. We are in chapter 9, so we are in the heart of the Bhakti section of the Bhagavad Gita, and we are going to talk about text 22 today. So, chapter 9, text 22. But before we get into it, Shakti, do you want to say our prayers for us?
Yes, I'd love that. Thank you. Happy New Year's Day, everybody. Om Jnana Timirandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Brupa Kara Mayam Nadati Sva Pandatikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kancha Garungi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Prananami Hari Priye Vanchakapa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavembhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachayane Nirvishesha Shunyavad Paschataya Tarayane Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Parama Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gurvishi Namaha Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmanya Devaya Cha Hitaya Cha Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Tapta Kancha Garungi Rari Vindavanishvari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Prananami Hari Priye Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garahara Srivasari Guru Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Thank you. Okay, so we're starting chapter 9, text 22. And Stella, whenever you're ready, do you want to recite it for us?
Yes. Ananyas chintayanto mam yeyana parapasate te samnitya biyuktan mam yoga semam bahame aham. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack, and I preserve what they have.
Beautiful. Thank you. So, in this verse, Krishna is saying, for those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, I personally carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. So we've been touching a little bit on demigod worship in this chapter, but Krishna is now shifting the focus to something deeper, this pure devotion. And chapter 9 covers a lot of ground, but this verse is particularly special because he's saying that when someone is sincerely absorbed in devotion to him, he doesn't stay distant or passive. Like he steps in. Like Krishna intervenes. He takes personal responsibility for their well-being, what they need, what they have, what they're trying to protect or grow in their spiritual life. And this isn't the first time we've heard this idea. Right? In chapter 4, text 11, Krishna says that as people approach me, I reward them accordingly. Remember we talked about that. So here he's just expanding on that. As we've talked about, the Gita is just such a progression. It's just unfolding. We're going deeper and deeper. He's saying if we approach him with love, he responds with love. If we put our hearts into relationship with him, he puts his heart into caring for us. And verses like this, they're some of the most comforting in the Gita because they really build faith. They help us breathe easier. And it's not like a business arrangement. Krishna's not making a business deal with us. He's not saying like you give me devotion and I'll give you benefits. It is not like transactional. He's describing a relationship. And when you love someone, your mind naturally goes to them. And when your mind is naturally going to them, your love deepens. This is the flow of devotion. It's circular, it's effortless, it's reciprocal. And I feel this with this reciprocal love with my child. And I feel it deepen. I loved her when she was first born, but I feel like every day that goes by, I love her more and more. My mind's naturally just always going to her. Love is deepening. So if we invest in relationship with Krishna, this is available for us on a transcendental plane. And Krishna loves everyone. We know that. He created this whole material world, it just as an expression of that love because it gives us space to explore our desires. He created this for us because we wanted it, because we wanted to enjoy separately. So he said, okay, no problem. So he created this material world for us to learn, for us to grow, and hopefully eventually find our way back to him. But it's up to us. And he loves us enough to give us that space and that choice. But if you turn towards him with devotion, the connection becomes even more personal and intimate and sweet. This love awakens in a very special way. And Krishna says, I'll take care of you. I got you. So this is the heart of this verse. It's a God who doesn't just watch us, but who walks with us. And we should never forget this. And it makes spiritual life so ecstatic when you really throw yourself into this verse, into what this verse is teaching us. I feel like I'm constantly throwing myself in to what this verse is teaching us. Just this week, I was just talking to Madhuri last night, actually. I'm leading this retreat here at New Vrindavan. I'm, doing this podcast. And you guys know, a few days ago, I had heard some bad news about my father. And it was a really emotional couple days. Like my mind was just, I was not in a place where I could really focus or prepare for class. But I didn't want to cancel this because I knew it would just be really good for me. So I kept it and I was like, man, I hope Krishna arranges something for me to prepare or because it was just like, it was not even something I could think about. And I had no idea, what I was going to do or how it was going to happen. But sure enough, it show up and it's just like every hour feels divinely arranged, even to the time where I can like prepare. It's not stressful. Somehow my mind is like able to be calm enough for it to happen. So it's just like if we just trust and we endeavor sincerely, Krishna's got us. He'll take care of it. I heard a beautiful lecture the other day by Radhanath Swami, and he said you just have to show up 1%. Like if you show up 1%, then Krishna, the 99% is that Krishna will carry you. It's 99% he'll carry you. You just have to just the 1%. He's preserving what you have, but he'll give you what you need. So it's really beautiful and it's experimental, just like bhakti. That's a beautiful thing. You don't just have to read this in like blind faith, jump into it. You can test it out in your life. In increments where you feel comfortable and you can see it working in real time. And then you can, give more trust, give more faith and see how Krishna arranges things in your life. But you have to give your heart to Krishna. Again, it's not like a business transaction. It has to be sincere. It has to come from relationship. Yeah. And so this verse brings up a very natural question, how am I supposed to think about Krishna all the time? I think that's kind of a tall order. You have all these things going on in our lives. It's like, how am I thinking about God all the time? And as we've talked about a lot in this class, constant remembrance, it doesn't mean that we just wake up one day and it happens for us. It's not like we could just like start a New Year's resolution. I'm going to think of God all the time and it happens for us. It's not that easy. It's a practice. It's a gradual shift. And in the beginning, it's a choice. Thinking of God it's a choice. We have to redirect our mind. We have to bring it back again and again. We know the process. We hear, we chant, we reflect, we serve. And then what happens is that practice starts purifying our heart. And then when the heart becomes clear, when we start kind of clearing out the gunk in our heart, Krishna's beauty and sweetness becomes more and more real to us. So we actually start to fall in love with him. And then once that love awakens, the remembrance, it just becomes natural. It becomes spontaneous. It's joyful. So at the beginning, we have to put a little bit of effort into it. Just like any relationship, where real love is kind of bred and nourished and maintained. It takes a little bit of work. It takes a little bit of discipline. But it comes. It comes and then it just continues to blossom. So that's what he's describing here. You don't have to force the mind, you know, we have to practice. We have to endeavor. And Krishna reciprocates tenfold. For every 1%, Krishna will bring you 99%. So this verse is just showing how intimate this relationship becomes. And the more pure our devotion, the more Krishna reciprocates because he responds directly to the love in our hearts. But we can't fake it. It's not something you can fake. So we have to trust the process and give a little bit, in accordance with where we are and build faith that way. Yeah. Does anybody want to share anything before we move on? Are you guys
Send us
just
the send us that lecture that you send us a copy of that lecture.
Oh, the one that I have like a tape, that I just listen to whenever I'm in the
Yeah.
car, and it just
Okay.
like came up. So I'm not even sure which lecture it was, but if I come across it again, I certainly will.
Okay,
Yeah.
that is so
Because
beautiful.
yeah.
1% compares to 99%. Oh my.
Yeah, right. Especially when you're thinking that what you have is pretty great. It's like what you have is pretty great. Like I know, like I'm a pretty determined person. I'm a pretty strong person. So I'm like, oh yeah, I got a lot. You can preserve what I have. But to that, he carries, he gives us what we don't, 99%. So it's humbling too. But it's reassuring. We just we just have to endeavor to open the heart to God, and he'll just come in and work magic. And the other thing too is it's like I can do things in spiritual life that like I never would have imagined I could do in material life. Because in material life it's like I have to control this. I have to have it all together. If this doesn't go this way, that's on me. It's just like a constant stress and anxiety. But in spiritual life it's like, okay, just let me try. Just let me try. Whatever happens, it's Krishna's arrangement, and I don't have to stress about it. So I'm just going to try. I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to do my part and see what happens. And then what happens is it's like you do things that you never would have even tried because you know that Krishna will meet you. And you know that if things don't arrange in the way that you're thinking they should, that it's also for your benefit. So it's just like you never lose, but you're constantly surprised and inspired and excited about it. What do you think, Stella?
Yeah, totally. This verse is one of my keystone verses, even just when you have a chronic illness and you sometimes it can be really bad. Um, that's when this verse I really lean on because I can't do things, but just spiritually, like all I could do is I can't even chant, or I can't move my head, or I can't. I just watch the sun go across the ceiling, kind of time. And but I can in my mind imagine, not imagine, but like I can think of Krishna's form in the temple, or you know remember Vrindavan, or and I know that when I can't read or even listen or do anything, that's when he preserves any kind of whatever I have desire to remember him, and he carries all of that. Like, you don't have to do that at that moment. That he's there with me, like, you know when you love someone, you try to consider them in all your decisions and your circumstances,
Mm,
like, um and it's it's always, I don't know, there's something about this whole process. It is experiential. You can experience it, like in those
mm,
moments of, like, when you wonder how you can even live in your body. um
mm,
he's there. He's there. He preserves all of that. It's like, just because he loves you, it's not, you have nothing, and he still wants to be in relationship. It's
mm,
wonderful. And then it makes you want to, when you can, want to do it more, because he was so sweet and kind. And it's not
mm,
like even material. He didn't take away, it was hours of that kind of thing. But there's nothing outside of Krishna. Even the pain is his energy. Even there's nothing outside. Nothing.
mm.
Everything's his energy. So when you can remember that, just even just those things are him.
Yeah, beautiful. That's inspiring, dealing with what you have to deal with regularly. Thank you. Shakti.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Um, I wasn't going to share, but Stella, I think we are so much more. We're so much more alike than I could have ever imagined. Maybe that you could even ever imagine. Like, I suffer with chronic pain. I was in a horrible car accident in 2010, and I had a back surgery, I had a neck surgery, I had shoulder surgery, I had knee surgery, and you know it it is really my body, and I think in these times is when the choices come, like, and sometimes I get, if I'm being honest, and I don't know how to lie really. So last night George was like, oh, why don't we we'll go to the temple, we'll do this, we'll go to, and I was just, my indignation maybe, and my physicality of how I was just like, my body was like, oh, I gotta get ready now, and I gotta do this, and it's like, if I could have just gotten up and gone to the temple the way that which I probably could have, with the way that exactly that I was, but of course I was thinking, externally I have to put my sari on, I have to do this, I have to do that. And then I end up, losing it. Like that's my wish for New Year's Eve, right? Like I see them, I'm watching Rockin' New Year's Eve, whatever, on TV, just because it's New Year's Eve. I don't really watch TV, and my desire is to be with Krishna and Radha and in the temple with Lord Jagannath and with all of the deities in the temple. That's my wish, is not to be out partying at some New Year's Eve party and cheering at midnight because I'll be sleeping. But the other things, and it's like you said, Stella, like again and again, he shows up when I feel like it just can't happen. Then I'm like, then it happens. I'm like, how did that happen? And so it's like, I have to try, I have to, and it's a process, I think, for me. I'm really learning to trust more and more each time. But I need to trust more. I know that's like, that's my New Year's, my genre, what is that? What do they call it? Resolution. It's something that I want to do more of in my life. Is I want to trust more, trust better,
Mm,
be there. That I want to always be there. That 1%, knowing that
mm,
Krishna will give me the rest. I always want to be there
mm,
at 1%, because then my life will be so much better in that. So that's my goal, is be there that 1% for Krishna.
mm.
And also, as I was sick, it was just so hard. And so I'm just, trying to get my head back on straight after all of that. And it's challenging, I tell you, Stella, right? But we do it. We do it because we know that's the only way.
Mm.
So
Thank,
yeah.
thank you so much for sharing, Shakti, that vulnerable share. And I think what you shared is so relatable too. Like, it's not always easy to make the effort to I've done the very same thing before. Like, I don't feel like getting showered and putting on, clothes that I can wear there. It's just too much work. And it's like when I do that, what I usually end up doing is just like sitting on the couch and zoning out. And then I'm like, oh, I should have just made the effort. But then on the contrary, and I know you have these experiences too, it's like when you don't feel like it, when you don't feel like doing the service, when I was driving down to New Vrindavan, I was like, why did I agree to this? This is so not the time. And now it's like I'm the most ecstatic that I felt in months. Like you always see that. Krishna always carries you if you just put yourself out there. You just like, okay, this it's almost like a trust fall. Like, okay, I have nothing left. I'm completely depleted. It's just like, when you like hold your arms out and you just like fall. That's what we're doing here. Sometimes it feels like in spiritual life. But Krishna's telling us, he'll always catch us. To the degree that our heart is sincere. It's really beautiful. So thank you, Shakti. And I think that's a good intention for all of us going into this new year. It's like, and it doesn't mean that again, there shouldn't be like it shouldn't be absolutely terrifying. Like we have to get to that place where we're like stretching ourselves, but it's not painful. Right? We're not too comfortable and we're it's not like too uncomfortable, but it's that stretch zone where you say, could I do that? That's going to be tough for me. Okay, I'm just going to do it. And then we see Krishna's intervention, and it's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you,
Trust me,
Shakti.
trust is a really good resolution because I did that one year about 4 years ago, um, where I was like, I'm going to meditate on how do you trust Krishna? Like, what does that
Mm,
mean?
yeah.
And it was not just 1 year. It was like, I'm still working on it. Like it deepens though. Like if you can identify, is this a situation in which I can trust Krishna? You know, um, and even even if even in the not just good things, but also hard things. He's
Yes.
the best person to put our trust in. Like who better?
Yes. Yeah. I was just talking to my boss the other day about what's going on with my dad. He's having some pretty bad health problems due to his drinking of alcohol, and I was telling, I was telling my boss, like, I don't know, maybe it's better for him just to get a new material package and start over. Like, and he's like, no, you don't know what's best for him. All you can do is pray that Krishna knows what's best for him, and Krishna do that. And it's like, yeah, it's in that moment, I was like, oh yeah, what am I thinking? I'm trying to like figure out Krishna's plan here so that I feel better. It's like, sometimes we just have to trust, and we just have to tolerate the uncomfortableness of not knowing, or yeah, of uncertainty. We just have to trust Krishna's plan. That's a tough one for me. That's a tough one for me. Thank you. Thank you all. So yeah, what
Hare
does Krishna
Krishna.
really, yeah,
Could I just say
what does,
something very,
yes,
very,
please.
very quickly about
Not,
stretching
doesn't even
without
need to be quickly.
Okay. About stretching without breaking. That I think that's part of our need for in our spiritual lives for teachers and gurus and friends who will push us a bit. I've been in therapy, every other day for over a month now, and all I've been doing for the last month is the therapist, he stretches my arm and he pushes it as far as he thinks it could go. And whenever he does it, I feel like he's going to rip it off. Um,
Mm.
and there's no way in the world I could ever do that myself. I would never go that far. But when
Mm.
we have a spiritual teacher, we might feel that I can't go any further than this. This is my 1%. And we know ourselves, I think, but sometimes we're afraid of breaking
Mm.
of stretching ourselves, and stretching ourselves is a really hard thing. And I've really just been appreciating my therapist who stretches me more than I think I could stretch. And also, our spiritual teachers who help us stretch more than we can stretch in our devotional lives. So that just connected with me. So thanks so much.
Wow, that's beautiful. Perfect. It reminds me of that book. I was just in the temple yesterday with a student who went to my seminar yesterday, and he asked me, "Oh, can you look at some books with me and help me pick out some books?" I was like, "Sure." So we were looking at books, and he picked up the Chasing Rhinos with the Swami. That's what the book's called, right? Chasing Rhinos with the Swami book. He's like, "What is this? What is chasing rhinos?" And I was like trying to explain it. I'm like, it's like when you endeavor for something that's just like much more than you really think possible. But in that, you see Krishna make all of the arrangements. And he was like, "Oh, okay. So like a big," I'm like, "Yeah, it's a really exciting, novel and story about how the early disciples, created this international movement over with when Prabhupada had like what 40 rupees, and you couldn't even at that time you couldn't even like convert them in the US, so he essentially had no money, and this international movement was made, and it's that was just from Prabhupada's sincere desire and sincere relationship with Krishna, and Krishna just made the arrangements. So yeah, thank you.
Isn't the chasing rhinos something that's so like if you could actually catch one, it's so amazing that if you couldn't, you're still just for the effort are praised. Like you're even just the effort is like, wow, it's not
Yeah,
such a high thing.
yeah,
So
yeah,
any little way you go toward that is just amazing.
yeah, yeah, thank you, thank you. So nice. So, so Krishna's saying here, this is like the ultimate life insurance policy. Life insurance is a funny thing because it's like there's actually no insurance for life. It takes care of your loved ones, but it doesn't really insure your life insurance. Right? No, but this life insurance policy, it guarantees spiritual success and eternal connection. Right? And it's even more than that. Krishna doesn't just care for the soul and then ignore everything else. When we care for someone, we care for their whole well-being. Not just part of them. And Krishna's like that too. He's gonna care. He's gonna care for the complete person. And his main focus is yes, our soul. That's because that's who we really are. But when material support is needed along the path, he steps in there too. He steps in there too. He protects what we have, and he provides what we lack. And it's not a contract. It's not a deal. It's love. It's this personal, active, and profoundly reassuring promise to us. Because there's two big fears that most people live with in this world. We can all probably relate to these fears. What if I lose what I already have? That can be pretty scary. We have a little bit of money. We have a nice home that we kind of like, a reputation. And immediately, as soon as we get these things, we start worrying, like it could all disappear. This is a real fear. And then the second is what if I never get what I need? What if I get sick? What if I can't afford life? What if things don't work out? And these two fears, what if I lose what I have? What if I can't get what I need? They drive so much of our anxiety. I mean, think of how much time we spend just worrying about these things. But Krishna's here saying simply, I will take care of this. I will take care of this. This has alleviated so much of my fear around having enough money. It's like if something goes wrong and we have to spend more money than I thought we would, we're like we just had a pipe break and we have to replace this piece of this like the vanity in the bathroom. And it's like usually this would just bring me into a place where I'd just be constantly worrying about this. Like, oh my gosh, we just spent some money. How are we going to get this money back? And it's like, you know what? I'm just going to trust Krishna's plan. I'm just going to trust that Krishna's going to take care of me. If I need something, he's going to take care of it. If he wants to teach me something, maybe he won't. And in that, maybe he won't take care of that material need. And you know what? That's okay too. So it's just when we can really learn to trust Krishna, it like makes our life just better. It takes our stress away. It's like if we focus on the why, like why am I here? What is my purpose? That's our job. That's our job here in spiritual life. We just focus on the why. Why am I here? What is my purpose? Krishna's going to take care of the how. How do our needs get met? How is the journey unfolding? And it's such a ride. It makes it such like an exciting and uh, it takes so much worry out of it. And it doesn't mean that we become unrealistic or irresponsible. We still have to do our part. Right? We still have to do our 1%. And not our 1%, really it's our 100%. But we have to give our 100%. And then Krishna will reciprocate tenfold. But we've all experienced this. And I'm sure you guys can think of examples too, like the right job opening up like just when you needed it. Or a friend calling on the day that you're just like falling apart. Or a bill somehow getting paid where you had like no idea how that was going to happen. I'm sure as I'm saying these things, you all can think about things in your life that it's like, it was just like divine timing, exactly what you needed. And then it was just, you spent so much time worrying about it. It was just like taken care of for you. So what Krishna's saying is the more that we trust that the universe is working for us, the more that we see that happening around us. The more that we see Krishna making these arrangements for us. And again, Krishna's not promising that he's always going to give us exactly what we think we need in the moment. So we have to know that too. We have to know that too. It's not a vending machine relationship and it's not on our terms. I'm a person that likes things to be on my terms. So this can be a little bit tricky. It is not on our terms. It's not like, okay, I gave you devotion. Now you fulfill my order, please. Krishna sees our lives from a much bigger perspective. The Gita tells us we're not just these temporary bodies. just constantly trying to stay alive or be comfortable. Wow, wouldn't life be so empty if that was the entire purpose of it? I don't think there'd really be a reason to be here, honestly. We are eternal souls, and we're meant for a happiness that's far greater than anything that the world can offer us. So again, when Krishna talks about providing, he doesn't just mean food, money, jobs, relationships, opportunities. He gives us those, but we have to remember his greatest gift is the path that leads us to this eternal life and this eternal joy. This practice of yoga, bhakti yoga, which lifts our consciousness, and connects us with him. So while we're still living in this world, he's absolutely going to take care of our material needs as well. We see that, he provides sunshine, he provides rain, he provides air, food, even to those who don't even believe in him. So of course he's going to look after those who are trying to love him. But just like a doctor may temporarily restrict certain foods to help a patient heal, sometimes Krishna may withhold certain things that we may want in order to protect our spiritual well-being. And we may not understand it at the time. My daughter is like loving outlets right now. She's loving outlets. And every time she goes over to an outlet and tries to stick her finger in and I pull her away from it, she's like screaming at me. And Krishna does that same thing for us. She has no idea, like, hey, I'm just trying to save your life here. Krishna's trying to save our lives sometimes. We're just trying to stick our finger in that outlet. We get too far in it that it's hard to get back out, or impossible. So he's helping us stay alive, and not in a material sense necessarily, yes, but more so the spiritual sense. And sometimes that may mean taking us away from an outlet that we really want to stick our finger in. And when he does that, he doesn't just leave us empty-handed. In those seasons, he especially gives us his presence. When my daughter's throwing a fit because she's not getting to do what she wants, I pick her up and I hold her, and I hug her and I tell her how much I love her. Krishna's doing that for us too. Krishna's doing that for us too. He gives us his presence, the strength, the steadiness when we remember him. And I think that's like a thing with babies too, or so I read. When you emotionally regulate them through your nervous system. So when she's upset, I'm just like hugging her and trying to love her. Krishna does that for us too. He loves us. We remember him. We immediately feel steady. We feel strength. And then that remembrance teaches us more than the thing we thought we needed ever could. And we start to discover that absorbing our mind in Krishna is the greatest nourishment. It's the real safety. It's the deepest comfort. It's the provision that never runs out. So when we see life through these lenses, the lens of who we actually are, we have to constantly remind ourselves this, right? Because our default mode is that we're a material body, we have material needs. No, we're a spiritual being. And the purpose of all of this is to turn back to our Creator and connect with our Creator, because that's where the deepest love and joy exist. And Krishna's never stopped providing for us. He never leaves us without what truly matters. So Krishna's saying, I protect what you have and I provide what you lack. He means it. Earlier in this chapter, Krishna spoke about virtuous people who reach heaven, but fall back down once their good karma runs out. We talked about that. But he makes it very clear, this doesn't happen to devotees. And we learned in chapter 2, Krishna told us there's no loss on the spiritual path. Remember that every genuine effort is permanent. That's kind of amazing. Remember when he talked about that? But he's going even further now here. He's saying this isn't just some cosmic rule that works automatically. He's personally stepping in. Krishna's personally stepping in for you to the degree that you let him. And when we can really serve God and not to get something from him, right? But just out of love, this relationship blossoms and our life becomes like fantastical. That's how I'm feeling this week in my time in New Vrindavan. It's just like everything is so fantastical. And when that love is there, Krishna takes it on himself to make all the arrangements, everything needed for the spiritual and material well-being. It's it's kind of amazing. Prabhupada, who came over to deliver this message, and he faced countless obstacles. If anybody's read the Lilamrita or any biography of Prabhupada, it's like obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. You know, he wasn't crushed by any of them. He wasn't crushed by any of them because he always saw something greater. He always saw the power, the protection, the compassion of Krishna working behind the scenes. And then but to speak up, what Prabhupada was able to end up doing, what Prabhupada became empowered to do because he had that trust, that faith. We can live with that same confidence. I'm here to serve Krishna. The rest will work itself out. I'm here to serve Krishna. The rest will work itself out. And I think this is such a better way to live and do service than just constantly worrying. We get so caught up in this worry reel. Our mind just goes crazy with it. We get agitated. It's funny, like worry agitates us, but our meditation, our sadhana, it calms us. Worry confuses us, but our meditation gives us clarity. We all see this. Worry drains us, but our meditation restores us. And so we all know this from experience. It's proven. We've all experienced this directly. Yet so much of our default mode is just going to worry, going to just letting the mind just run away with all of these fears, this need to control, right? Instead of just turning to Krishna, who's showed us time and time again. We connect with him, we're going to feel calm. We're going to feel clear. We're going to feel restored. We're going to feel energized. Right? So why don't we do that more often? Why don't we do that more often? Why don't we take advantage of that golden ticket that Krishna's offering us in this life? I'll share one more conversation with my boss that I was having the other day when I was talking about my dad. And I was telling him, he's just in such illusion. He's taking his medicine, but he's still drinking. And it's like it's going to kill him. But he's just like won't admit that. He's just like in such illusion. And I was telling him, like, I would even feel better if he like knew, if it's like, Dad, look, this is going to kill you. You're taking this medicine, but you're still drinking, it's going to kill you. If you want to do that, okay, but just know this is the reality of the situation. And my boss is like, that's the reality of all of our situations. We're all in this illusion. We all have some illusion one way or another. And we're in denial around it. So I was like, wow, yeah, like don't let that be you. It's so obvious. Some things are so obvious, with something like that, with alcoholism or addiction. It's just we can look at that and it's so obvious, but the reality is that we're all in this quite an illusion. It may be different for each one of us, but the commonality is the same. So that's what we want to take away from this verse. Sometimes when we take a leap for Krishna, it feels like everything is going wrong. But that's often when Krishna reveals just how right everything actually is. How he's been guiding us and supporting us this whole time. So that's the promise of this verse. He protects us, he provides us. And not from a distance, but personally. Personally. It's like, again, it's just trust fall wherever you are. Krishna will catch you if you can muster up the confidence. And it's not even a trust fall because it's like, he's right there. So that's 922. That's 922. Madhuri, I didn't see your hand, but I'm so glad we have a lot of time for discussion. So Madhuri, please share your thoughts with us.
Katie was first. Katie
Oh,
was first.
Okay,
But
let's hear from Katie.
either way, Marjorie, it's nice to see you. Yeah, do you want to? I don't mind.
Go
Please.
ahead, Kate.
Okay. All right, well, thanks. Yeah, my goodness, what a verse. I remember like when I met the devotees and started coming to a Gita class that was already well on the way, and was doing a little bit more like highlights. And this verse and other verses about like the unwavering support and friendship and acceptance, and coming to meet us, like we take one step and Krishna takes 100, or we take no steps and Krishna's like still just ready to step and or is there just waiting, ready for us. And I remember just being so sure of the feeling, like this is what the path I've been waiting for, like for years, and having kirtan like kind of sprinkled in like a couple times a year to yoga, more asana based yoga stuff, like over quite a few years. I was like, what, like when I really figured out bhakti, I was like, just, it was these type verses that really made me know I was like home,
Mm.
and felt different than a faith that I, still appreciate being raised in. Yeah, and also just like thinking about these all the anxiety, when we kind of forget uh that Krishna does provide everything we need. And I've shared with y'all before how, like I'll like wanted to go. Well, in fact, the first like spiritual, when I got like guru and japa on the same day, it was on a trip, that I thought I couldn't go on because I didn't really have enough time to save up. And then people I barely knew were like, hey, we each want to donate $300. And like, what? And I was like, okay, I mean, it was just incredible, like exactly what I needed, like the half of the whole thing, or like, so it's like $600 that I needed, and two people just did it, and I didn't even know it was like half, like I didn't even add, I don't know, it was crazy. And yeah, and then another funny thing came to my, so indeed I've noticed over these years with you guys, like it's amazing how it's like, oh baby, we just, are we going to be able to do this? And then we don't have more, we don't have an excess, but we literally have like exactly what we need, and just enough, and they were like, wow. And so basically a funny thing that happened just the other day was, we were stressing about two large unexpected medical bills, and one of them was the storage of the embryo, going over 1 year. So it's like, everything's already paid for in the first year, but then, and they had told us like they would prorate, the amount. And if we go over 1 year, like we'll work with you because it's $1,250. And we had just had a bigger one like a week before that. And, so we're like really stressing out, and we're trying to contact the company that, and I'm thinking, what do? They just like take it out of the freezer, like, and I'm like, that's not the case. But, I was like, oh God, like we're getting these letters and we haven't had much notice. And so finally, like we were able to get on the phone with them, and even though we were kind of waiting for like a call back, and the guy, um, he's like, I'm like, okay, this is overdue now. And I'm so sorry. We've been playing phone tag and we think we can prorate. But then we heard we can't. And someone else wrote back, and we have to do the full amount and then hope for a partial refund later. And he was like, no, I mean, we can do a payment plan. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, you want to pay like $100 like in like 3 weeks? And I was like, well, I guess, but like we're supposed to have already. And he was like, no, just, and I could just tell in his voice, he's like, ma'am, just stop talking. I'm trying to make it so you have like a month free and you only pay $100 two times, and like, so my husband's sitting there like, just like nodding. And I was like, thank you, I'm just like, yes, that sounds wonderful, like it was just so silly and kind of such a relief and kind of funny, but it was just exactly this kind of scenario, so, that just came to my mind to share.
Yes. So nice. Thank you, Katie.
Thanks.
Marjorie, what do you have for us?
For me, one of the biggest takes away from this session is remembering, I like when you said be in the stretch zone versus the comfort and complacency zone, because that's where Krishna comes in. That's for me, I really want to hold on to that one, because as the older I get, I think the more I tend to slip into that. And as Shakti was saying, and Shela, it's just, the body aches, this and that. It's just like, I need some comfort. But I still need to make sure that whatever it looks like for me to be in the stretch zone.
Yes.
And then another, what came to me when you were saying that that Prabhupada never gave up. Relatively recently, actually, I've heard about an incident when Prabhupada had a human side, of course. He was in a human body, that he had time when he was despondent, and he even went back to I don't know the word, where the ships are.
Yeah.
And he was thinking in the early stages,
Yeah.
maybe I should just go home.
Yeah.
But he never, of course, did it.
Yeah.
But to me, it's just more even endearing to hear about that.
Yeah.
Even Prabhupada had times when he was like, oh, is this going to work?
Yeah. He had opportunities to really rely on Krishna because
Yes, but he never gave
was,
up. And
yeah.
another one, if I may,
Please.
there is this, I think like a Christian little story I read, that I think a person is talking to God. You can correct me because I don't remember the precisely, but there is about footprints.
Yeah.
Remember that there is
Yeah.
mine and God's, and then at one point there's only one set of footprints. So
Yeah.
the person is, oh, what was happening? Where were you? That's the time when I was carrying you.
Yeah.
And sometimes for me, as you were saying yesterday in the seminar, that Krishna really carries us so often, but we are like so unconscious, at least for me, and ungrateful. I need to remind myself that we are sometimes not even seeing it. That's something for me to remember, to count my blessings.
Wow. Really nice. Thank you, Marjorie.
And one more, if I may.
Please.
When you were saying that there's also a Christian thing, saying that something that of becoming like a child before we can actually enter the kingdom of God. And I was reflecting when you were saying that part of it is the dependence, the child's dependence on the parents.
Yes.
So in the same way, we just trust like that. We need to have this big part of us, because I'm also like, I'm a doer, right? I'm trying to do things, but I need to cultivate that real complete trust and dependence like a child.
Yes.
On the mother or father. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you, Marjorie. Thank you. Anybody else want to share here? Kay, are you here? You usually have nice takeaways.
I'm here and I'm listening and I'm noting down all the beautiful points. I just noted down what Madhuri said, to become a child before entering the kingdom of God. Oh my God, that is so beautiful. Because you have to be totally dependent. And then so many beautiful things. I'm all noting them down so I can put them on the status of my WhatsApp.
Amazing. Love it.
And and one more thing, Radhanath Maharaj is coming, right? For the Sadhu Sangha.
Yes, I think he'll be there.
But
I think he's confirmed. He usually is. Yeah.
That would be a nice opportunity.
Yes. Yes.
What Charu Sangha?
I'll text you offline. Is that okay? Yeah. Sukde, did you have something to say?
Yeah, yes, I would like to express my gratitude to you, Radha. And it was quite compelling today to come out this morning and listen. I had no sleep last night. My neighborhood had so much fireworks, like right in my backyard, that it was so loud I couldn't sleep. But I had to be here. So what I want to say is like I'm so totally grateful to you. You having all your problems, difficulties in pregnancy and being a new mom, and you were out there for us all, and you show up all the time, whether it's a happy day or it's not a happy day or a good night or what, you're always there. And sometimes I think, because I know what you go through. I mean, being a midwife, being, a mother as well, kind of, I can imagine, and you're still there. So I have to say how compelling this class is to me, that I have to be here today and to listen to you and to everyone else. I'm so grateful for all the shares. I have come a long way since I've joined you and this class. And my goal is to continue towards the end and maybe continue further to something else. So once again, Radha, thank you, and thank everyone else for all their shares. I'm very, very grateful. And Happy New Year to all of you.
Wow. Thank you, Sukde. Thank you, Sukde. And it's really not me. I really come because it energizes me. And Krishna, like I feel that the more service you do, the more Krishna takes care of you. And so I'm becoming like a junkie. And that's how I'm subsiding. So it's addicting in the best way possible. So Krishna's mercy. Yeah, that's the drug. That's the drug. But thank you. Thank you, Sukdai. Appreciate you. And it sounds like, that's your stretch zone. Waking up even though you're tired, still coming. That's it. And Krishna's reciprocating with you. So it's beautiful.
It's
Thank you.
compelling. It's quite compelling. And Lord Krishna's magic. What can we say? Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, my friends. Well, I think that's all we have for the day. I think we're out of time. But thank you all for coming and for sharing your hearts and for being here with us today. And looking forward to seeing you more in the new year. We'll see you on Monday. So take care.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year to everyone.
Thank you.
Merry